Ava.
How's that feeling? Feels good. Good.
Let me show you a couple things we can make.
Of course, I love to feed people. I'm gonna That was the best part of the day.
All right, well, let's get started. You're gonna start by getting a drop cloth. You know, I love doing crafts, making presents with things I already have at home. I love to be resourceful. And so as I was thinking about this year's Christmas craft, I kind of started walking around the house, seeing what I already had on hand, and found our drop cloths in the garage. And if you don't have a drop cloth, you can easily get one from Home Depot, Walmart, Amazon. You're gonna find them to be the most inexpensive things. And so anyway, you wanna get your drop cloth home and into the washing machine. For some of you, you might have to cut your cloth into machine washable size. I had to cut mine in half. I washed mine and dried mine a few times just to get it soft, you know, because we're gonna be making napkins today. We're gonna be making some ribbon, and we're gonna be making some gift bags out of these drop cloths. And so we want, especially for napkins, we want them to be a little soft. All right, so after you have machine washed and dried your fabric, now you're gonna cut it into the size you want for whatever you're making. In this case, we're gonna make napkins. I personally love a little bit larger napkin, and so this one is 15 by 19 inches. So you're just gonna cut your pieces. I made a set of 8. And after you've cut, the next thing you're gonna do is, if you would like, you're gonna fray your edges, because I love like a little fringe. And so it's so simple. You just take the loose threads and you start at the top, and just, they'll come right off. You'll peel them right off. And then once you're done doing all 4 edges, if you have a sewing machine and you enjoy sewing, it's very simple. It's just a straight stitch. And what you're gonna do is stitch. I used red fabric here. I'm not sure if you can actually see, but just so it shows up, you're gonna stitch right up close to the fray edge. And what that will do is help the fraying to stop, so that when you wash your napkin, it's not gonna continue to fray and make a big mess. And if you don't have a sewing machine, what you can do is pick up some fabric glue. This is Fabric Fusion. It's at any craft store. And you can just put a little dab on each corner at the fray edge, and that should stop the fraying as well. Okay, so you've got your piece cut out, you've got the fraying done, you've either glued or stitched your edges to stop the fraying. Now what you can do next is, if you would like, you can stamp with whatever motif you like. This year I'm, making Christmas napkins, and so I had this little Christmas tree stamp, and you're gonna need some fabric paint, which again, you can just pick up at the craft store, and you're going to stamp the outside edge of your napkin. If you see this all the way opened up, you can see where you can stamp, because you're gonna fold your napkin right when it's on the table. I fold it into 3s, and then there, your stamp's on that outside. Okay, I wanna show you a few other things that you can do with a drop cloth, because the possibilities are endless. You can make a cute little embroidered sampler. I just did a basic little Christmas tree design here, and when you're done, you just cut the edges of the fabric off, and kind of upside down here, and then you can hang it on your tree like an ornament. I was thinking you could use it even as a little tie-on to a gift. They're cute. Just leave it on its own, put it somewhere in your house, but kind of like this. I actually started stitching the edges as well. If you wanted to keep it just a whole piece, you can put it between 2 pieces of glass, like a frame, a picture frame, and hang it Okay, so here's the napkins, all rolled up and put into a present, ready to go for somebody. What a great hostess gift, right? And I'm actually making a set for all of my kids. I know all of them are trying to just cut down on paper waste, and something they can use all the time, every day. It doesn't have to just be at Christmas time. And they're so simple. You just put them in the washing machine and dry them. There's no fuss. They're not fancy. I don't know why we think cloth napkins are so fancy. They make sense. Okay, so one of the other amazing things you can make out of a drop cloth are gift bags. And these, you can just use over and over and over. And so what I did was I made another set of napkins. I actually made these for myself because I love this stamp. Same thing, it's a rubber stamp that I used fabric paint with. And then made a set of napkins for myself, my Christmas present to me. And then if you're making them for somebody else, you can just stick them in the bag. That's what you could do with these napkins. Instead of wrapping them up like this, you can put them in a little gift bag. And then I can just store these in this bag as well if I want to. But look, if you just turn it inside out, you have a very, many uses for that bag. Well, I hope you were inspired and want to try this craft at home. I know that whoever receives these precious gifts that you've made is going to be very blessed. Merry Christmas. I'm sure all of us were kind of in the same situation on those first few days of the quarantine. We found ourselves facing a void, an empty, and a lot of quiet, unless you were home with kids. I wasn't. I was at home alone with my husband, who was working hard at that time. And so I surrendered the empty, the quiet, the void. And I found myself in God's Word, and just for the first time in a long time, not questing to prepare a message, not questing to fill answers for a Bible study, but really in listen mode. And if we're not beholding the glory of Jesus, we're not meeting the voids of life with enough to really fill them. For months now, I've been meditating on John 1:14 and verse 16. And it says, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And that literally means, dwelt among us, literally means that Jesus pitched a tent here on earth. And the disciples were so blessed because they got to camp out with Jesus. We want to meet the voids in life because they're going to come, especially now holiday season. There's going to be some empty, quiet, void times. And instead of beholding our own thoughts in those times or picking up our phones, how about we behold the glory of Jesus? John and the disciples found him to be full of grace and truth when they beheld him, camped out with him, ate with him, walked with him, talked with him. We have what we need for those empty, quiet, void times. In fact, they become a blessing. I'm finding myself referring to quarantine time as the good old days, of camping out with Jesus and enjoying and luxuriating in his word, in his presence, and finding the void times are something to run to, not run away from.